So we're still negotiating the LOI on this facility. Hopefully we'll have more information tomorrow. That's where we're at this point. I can tell you all that. And other than that, you had anything, Judy? You listened in. We were in the meeting for 45 minutes, from 6 to about, well, we went just, I guess, about 55 minutes. So anyway, we will be having a meeting, I guess, this Saturday. So if you guys want to, we'll try to come up with everybody's concerns for the meeting so that we can address it Saturday at the monthly meeting. Anyway, who wants to go first?
We have just one LOI. Is that correct? Correct. One LOI. Okay, so you're meeting today. I know you can't, because you're negotiating.
We were negotiating an LOI that hasn't been executed by both parties yet. So
Okay.
we're working to negotiate both sides so that we can go to contract on that.
Okay. So that's still in the works.
I'm sorry?
That's still in the works.
It's still working.
So any other LOIs? None?
No,
None. So this is it.
this is it.
That's Rockwall Hospitality?
Yes. Mhm. I wished I had more information. I don't. Any questions? Yeah, Pat.
Christy is still hanging in there with us?
Yeah, when he says the Rockwall Hospitality, that is Christie's people.
Oh, that's what it's gonna be?
Yeah, that's they're the same. It's just a company name versus
Yeah.
the group that's working it.
Yeah.
Yes, Ann?
I heard that Wade's Landing, is that also Christie's? Is that?
I don't know if it is or not. I've heard that there's a tie on the TADC license, but that's all I know about that. I don't know what kind of tie, because you have owners in the different entities, and that's kind of what came out. That did come out. You have an ownership that are common that might own Christie's, that own Wade's Landing, that owns Dudley's, and we don't know who owns what. So you could have a common thread there that's able to, saddle back off the TADC license some form, fashion, or way. But I don't know that answer. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So what's going on with Falcon and the other restaurants that are working on their LOI?
Well, they don't have anything yet.
Well, what's the status of it? They're working on it.
Well, there's talks going back and forth, but that's all I can tell you and that's pretty much all they
Falcon
can.
is working with us on our one LOI. Falcon is working with us on our one LOI to negotiate.
And they're listening to others, but no one's coming forth with anything. So it's like if you were selling your house and there's people that talk and that, maybe your realtor's still listening to somebody or something. I don't know. It's the same kind of thing.
From the last meeting, it sounded like there were a couple of parties that were interested. There's been no progress?
No progress.
Rick,
Yes.
are you at liberty to share any of the detail within the LOI?
Well, that's kind of what we're going through right now. There's I guess negotiations going back and forth with the LOI on, like right now, there's issues that have to be taken care of before anybody can occupy this building. So, that's front-end negotiations. How do we occupy this building with the city's permission? It's a certificate of occupancy. And, that's some of the stuff we're working on.
Other than the kitchen, what else is there?
Well, that's one of the major things is the kitchen.
We've been gone for a month. What's the deal with the kitchen? Has it been?
It needs a floor epoxy. It needs a floor epoxy. It needs the tile ripped off the walls. The city will not allow that tile on the wall. They want FRP board, which is kitchen material, kind of like some of the kitchen has. But all of that wall has to be that. They can't have any doors that are exposed, like the wood has to be sealed off. So there's painting. There's lenses on the light fixtures that have to be replaced. There's freezer doors that were leaking air. They have to be repaired. And It's about,
Is there any deadline for doing this? All what you mentioned?
well, in that trade, there was a contractor in here who said he could get it done in 15 days. And he's the one that's worked in the city of Rockwall with the city of Rockwall Health Department. And they like him, he knows how to do the work, and Christie's is the one that brought him here. So, that's the kind of who, we were talking to them, that's kind of what we're going off of. And it just so happens I'm familiar with this guy because we do fire sprinkler and fire protection work with this contractor throughout Dallas at restaurants and
So
eating establishments.
has the work been scheduled or not?
No. I'll leave it at that.
Rick, is the majority of the board in favor of Christie's?
No, don't tell me.
What do you think, Judy? Is the majority of the board in favor?
That's the majority.
They got a vote by the board meeting this Saturday.
Okay. Why?
We hope so. We hope we have a vote at the meeting on a Saturday. Again, we're in the middle of these negotiations, and hopefully we'll solidify something tomorrow. That's all I can say at this point.
Rick, did I misunderstand that Christie's has never presented us with an LOI? I thought.
No, they presented three,
Okay.
but it's not a executed LOI until we sign it.
So,
They sign
They
it.
have presented.
They sign it, and
Okay.
we have to sign it to make it an
I
executed
misunderstood
agreement.
that process because you were talking about just having.
Well, in order for us to sign it, it takes four of us to agree to sign
I
it.
see. Okay.
And
So
that's
no-
what Julie's saying. We now have four
Okay.
in agreement to sign that LOI.
Process,
But
yeah.
guys, don't lose track that once we get an LOI, then we have to go to contract, and then we have a lot of other terms.
Okay. That's just-
So we need a unanimous decision, in my humble way of thinking. We need a unanimous decision from the board, so that as we move through and negotiate the rest of the contract term points, it goes smooth. Because if it's taken so long to do this LOI, there's no way we can go to the contract terms.
Does an LOI lock that person in to the exclusion of anyone else if you start negotiating with them on that?
No, not, LOIs are, you're not under any obligation until you're not under an obligation at all until you sign an executed agreement for management.
Okay, but at least.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the understanding last time was that the reason Christie was not a complete LOI because they did not turn in their financials. So they turned in their financials.
They said they turned them in Friday today, but they did have them, and what some of them had, they had them all along, but I don't know who has what, because everything I receive, I forward it to the emails.
Well, did you receive financials? I guess I didn't understand.
The realtor who's negotiating with us and them said she has them.
Okay.
You know, once we engaged her in a contract, then they said, well, get us this information. She got it. She sent it to them. And it's the same stuff I've already received. They even said it's the same stuff that I'd give them. So I don't know. Yes.
I had a question about the kitchen, the tile and the epoxy, was that not accepted? I mean, I guess it passed when we had Kemper running the kitchen, right?
Well, the tile on the walls is, their contention from the health department is that bacteria, it holds bacteria. Anywhere you got in a kitchen now, especially since COVID, that'll hold bacteria. They want that where it can be cleaned.
So that's a new.
You got grout. If you look,
regulation?
I don't know that Kemper ever got a CO.
I don't,
They
we
might have just
haven't been able to
continued
find
on
a seal.
with just the name.
Moved in and started work.
So this is not a new reg, I'm just coming from a building.
Yeah, sure. I
This
get
isn't a new requirement, this is something that maybe perhaps we didn't do. Is that correct?
Well, that's what we're saying. We don't know that it ever went through that process.
Okay.
Yeah, James.
Well, the COO, the last one that was pulled was through the manual.
Yeah, and that was way before,
And it's 2017.
before COVID.
Back then, you know, your health codes have changed and.
COVID.
So,
You know, it's just pre-COVID
They
and
did,
post-COVID.
Tipper did pass the health inspection in December, but that was in the old era. Then we applied for a new COO that got stuck.
Yeah, the good news is we did pass the fire department inspection. Everything in there's good with the fire department. It's just the health department and, you know, but the fire department is enforcing, that's why there's chains on the doors. The fire department's enforcing the health code. And you know, from a city's perspective, they're two separate entities at the city level. Yes, ma'am.
Last time we had a roundtable, I had asked Greg and Seth about the May 1st deadline. Now, at the time y'all voted on it on at the meeting, and then the May 1st deadline came and went. Do we have another deadline set up again, or are we just kind of playing it by ear till we?
No, ma'am. We're just, from my perspective, we're operating without a contract. It's, you know, once that May 1st date came and went, that contract is void, it's been breached, so
The reason that I
they
asked.
need a new one probably. But
You said something about June first in that meeting.
June 1st for what?
I don't know, just said we had to meet the June 1st deadline.
Well, the reason that I asked that is because the CO that James got is a temporary CO.
That's what Greg was talking about.
I don't know what a June 1 is. We didn't vote on a June 1. Does anyone, y'all are at the same meeting we're at?
We
I
were
haven't-
saying we wanted to finish it by June 1, all the contracting by June 1.
Oh, okay. I think they're trying to get the June 1 deadline because these folks that want in here now want in here by 4th of July.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we don't
But
get
that was
June
part of my
1.
question because James, what is it, through the end of this month, we have to get another temporary COO, right? So, I mean, and he just keeps kicking the can.
Yeah,
down the road, you know, just-
that's been mentioned. One of these days, these cities, one of these days, the
They're gonna
city's
call
gonna
us out.
say no more.
Right, they're gonna call us out, that's what.
That's what they'll do.
Well, see, without that temporary CO,
This place gets
we
locked
wouldn't
up,
be
you
able
know.
to do the bingos.
We couldn't come down here right now.
And
They locked it up.
That's why, from my perspective, I'm just one person talking here on the board, but from that perspective, that one board seat perspective, the kitchen needs to be done. It just needs to be done so this building can be occupied by whoever. Might just be us, it might be you and Julie and myself and whoever wants to participate in here, but once they'll move those chains to that door. Yes, ma'am.
But, well, I say Christie's again, we are used to Christie's. They are willing to do the kitchen all the way themselves, right?
Well, I guess the best way to say it is they've got an allocated budget, and now the negotiations are taking place on what do they do with that budget. So that's what we're waiting on. I mean, I'm not telling y'all the detail of it, but that's where we're at, you know.
Because that kitchen needs to be gutted out.
Well, according to the contractor that we've been talking to and that I'm familiar with, he wants $50,000. He wants $25,000 up front to do the work, and $25,000 once he gets the CLO. That's his deal. But if they want someone else, he said it'd take him 15 days.
Well, either way, it has to be done, us or the leaser.
Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking that I had heard the last meeting, we had 450,000 reserves, am I wrong?
Yeah, when you got the money in the cash reserves, you have to go back and y'all have access to it on Town Square. Look at Town Square and see, you got budgets. So I don't know if they have a budget. I don't think they had a budget to do that kitchen. So the 450 is for budgetary items that haven't been purchased yet, like $120,000. I do know $120,000 is in there with no money spent for streets, for street repair. That's in the budget right now. So, the question is, does the board, does the neighborhood want to reallocate money or whatever, that's not my decision to make as an individual, but as a board and as a community, you know, that's why we're here.
But that kitchen must be done either way. If somebody's gonna be or not gonna.
Well, I don't want, if that kitchen becomes an issue with the city and they lock this building up, then it can move into a whole different set of issues from permitting and getting other issues taken care of. That's from my experience.
So what's,
And you're-
Is that right, Karen? You've been in this
Yes,
before.
and I think, just a personal thing, it's a building, that, and we own the building. I mean, I don't know, in the LOI, I don't know too many, I'm not in the restaurant business, if they, what they have in mind. I don't think they had in mind coming into the building and fixing it up to meet code. They're probably like, that's your responsibility, we're leasing, you're the landlord.
Well,
And, the 50K, if it's 50K, that's a hell of a deal, by the way, folks. It's a hell of a deal.
yeah, it's a 2,100 square foot kitchen,
Oh
just
my God, it's a
FYI.
hell of a deal. If that will get us the CO, passed, then I don't understand why we're waiting on it, or we're twiddling our thumbs. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I have to ask you, is the 50K to gut and remodel, redo the kitchen, or just fix the problem?
no, it's to scrape up that floor and come back down with an epoxy finish, because it's to scrape off behind the tile on the wall is a hardy board. They gotta take the hardy board and the tile off. For people that are familiar
I just
with
wanted
it.
to clarify, and make sure I.
Once they take the hardy board off, then they can put the FRP board straight up in there.
And it all has to be degrees before anything will stick to that floor.
It's a big job.
That's a heck of a price to do that, too. I mean, I'm just telling you. But that's square footage.
have you all
Yes.
been in that kitchen?
But hey, if it passes, if that's what it takes to pass inspection, health inspection.
That's the way these guys work too. They're specific to this. That's why they're
And
known.
that's what we need to do.
That's,
And it needs to be done, it's horrible.
yeah,
I'd like to ask everybody here, let's take a vote. How many people here would like to spend the $50,000 as soon as possible to fix the kitchen? Because I think we'll look better to any prospective restaurateur if it's already fixed.
Yeah.
And I'd like to have the vote taken and handed in to the board on Saturday.
Then we should start working.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Well, let's do it another way. How many don't want it to take place?
Okay, I have
Yeah, go
a
ahead.
question because, my son is deaf, I can't be here. But he said that these restaurants, when they come in and do this, they fix these things. That's what they do. They have budgets, it might be 200,000, but that they will fix the kitchen. So don't just jump and say, we'll fix the kitchen, and they'll be, okay, of course they will.
Did they fix your
I'm
lawn?
just saying, I don't know that much about it, except that I just talked about
Well,
that.
it's they get their own freezers, they want new freezers, they get those, they get cooking things, they get ice makers,
Yeah,
they get
but
all that kind of stuff. But right now, it's too
You
nasty.
need to negotiate it though, before you just jump up.
Well,
and
yeah.
Usually it's infrastructure's on the landlord.
Hold on. Explain to her again
Well, they didn't have everything they
that
needed.
they're gonna, if that kitchen is not at least cleaned out, they're gonna lock the doors in the front.
I know.
We can just put 50,000 down and say, we'll do it. I mean, I just think that it sounds like, y'all are doing it.
Mhm.
Just talk with them about it.
Well, that's why we're here. I respect your opinion.
That you haven't really negotiated this out, but just to say, okay, let's take a vote, and we're gonna pay for it. I think they should wait and see what they come up with.
Well,
And I don't necessarily disagree with you, because what I'm saying is I think that we should be something compliant, but we're not, clearly. But the thing is that we hope that,
okay, this is where we're at. If I'm gonna, and I've been on both ends of these deals. I went in lease space. If I come in here and I want this building, let's say my budget's $250,000, and I want to do what I want to do with the place, and this place is not habitable. It's not allowed to be occupied by me or anyone else unless I do that right there. I don't know if I'd be interested in this place.
Well, have you been talking to them about it? Is what I'm
They're
saying.
talking to them, yeah, they're
Oh,
talking to them. Oh, yes, the negotiations have been going on.
And then
Yeah.
if it's a must,
Yeah.
that Chandler
It is.
must do it, then that's one thing.
And they're negotiating it.
Jump in and say, we'll do it.
Nobody's doing that, nobody's doing
Well,
that.
we're taking
But,
votes and-
but if we don't get it done in time, just saying, and Christie's walks away, then we've got the whole rest of the year, we can't even use our kitchen until we fix it. This needs to be cleaned, the flooring and the walls done. I mean, it's like simple, we don't have to do anything to machines or anything, because none of us cook, but.
And the most important thing to understand is the city can change at any month. That we have to remember they can change this at any month. The same way this place lost its CFO, it lost its CFO, which, because they went in and looked at that, we had to spend all kinds of money already this year to get this thing where the fire department would allow us in here. Because they locked the whole place up. You remember that?
Time that we would say, we're gonna do it. I just think.
I want everybody to be aware of it. Go ahead, James.
Well, my dialogue, I have to deal with the city by the end of the month. Today for another 30 days for the temporary CO. My dialogue with them is, we're kind of sitting on our hands because we have a letter of intent, and we feel, I'm talking through me in that perspective, is that why would we want to go in and spend all this money in there doing this, that, and other, and they come right in behind us and they tear it out, maybe they didn't like that color or style of flooring, then we're out $50K. So I've just been kind of buying 30 days at a time going, we've got an LOI coming and I'll keep you posted. So I've got to run that email in the next 2 weeks to the 30 days. So.
But maybe it'll be all resolved by tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's what the realtor said. She would see what she could figure out.
Resolved, and you could say, they're gonna be in here.
Well, I don't know this, but I'm pretty sure what she's gonna go do is talk to the other side, the Rockwall Hospitality Group.
Yeah.
She's probably gonna go talk to them and say, what can we do in fairness to your answer? So, yeah, Linda.
Well, is there any opportunity that we might be able to split it with them? I mean.
That's some of the, that's why we say we're negotiating.
Because I think that's.
Yeah.
I
Jen.
just wanted to say, I think we're very fortunate to have Kathy, who can verify, who's professional in that area, can verify the fact that 50,000 is a good deal. Because we would be, if we didn't have your confirmation on that, we would be flying blind again. So these little bits and pieces that we get from this, I mean, I'm convinced because she said something.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah, I'm not saying, but just to bring it up to standard, so someone could, they may come in and tear out everything that we did for $50,000, but at least we're showing that's our LOI, our intent.
But in the meantime, we're also talking to their contractors.
Uh-huh.
That's who's giving us pricing, so
Oh,
why would
yes.
he put in
Why
something
would
that we're
they
gonna tear
tear
out?
it out?
They probably wouldn't, but I mean,
Okay.
even if they did at that point, that's their call. We need to be, our responsibility is have it up to standard, so we can lease it out, and if that's what
I
it
just
takes.
wanted to say one more thing. I think there's 2 things to focus on. If we said to the Christie people, we'd like to spend 50 grand, here's what we want to do, do you have any objections? That would be one thing. Plus, time is of the essence. I mean, we get 3 weeks down the road if we get that thing done. Otherwise, the day they walk in the door, they still have to do something. And they're trying to get in just a little over 4 weeks from now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I look at everything here, personally, I look at it, we're losing money daily by not having someone in there. However much that is. And that money could be used for other things in the neighborhood. We've got some serious erosion problems around these tennis courts. And somewhere along the line, some of these buildings are gonna start coming at us because of erosion that we're responsible for because it's on our property, and I can take people and show them. So, I mean,
The sooner the better.
Isn't that?
no squeaky wheels yet, but when it does happen, it's gonna happen. We're gonna have to come up with money and resources to repair our property. And some of it, my understanding is we have, some of these condos where the property was owned by the buildings. But somewhere along the line, we took that property on, and then they just became responsible for the buildings. Now all those cross-tie timbers y'all are familiar with, if you walk around those tennis courts, are failing. And all this rain we've been having, that water and that dirt and everything's redirected all this water, and it's washed sidewalks out of the way, it's washed stairs out of the way. And that's just a lot of issues that's happening. And, you know, there's other issues besides this building, I guess, where I'm going with this. And we really need to stop the outflow of money. Like, I'm sure we're spending over $5,000 a month just on utilities in this building. And to get someone in here to pay the utility bill would be, you know, when I brought this up first in February, at that meeting in February, well, I've looked at it, and that's about 90 days. In 90 days, you know, that's 3 months, that's $15,000 worth of utilities probably, and then the rents we could have been collecting for those 90 days. That's a significant amount of money. And we're pushing down for another 30 days, and another 30 days, another 30 days. So, and it's real disheartening for me, because I don't know how else to make myself any more clear.
Rick, you lease buildings and you made this statement, and I agree with you. Is that, you know, if they have smarts in negotiating, they're going to realize they're the only one that's doing the negotiating with us. They're also going to realize that we own the building, and ultimately, as a landlord, that really is our responsibility. So they really do have the upper hand in this. If they decide, hey, you're going to need to do it. I mean, just from a negotiation standpoint, I mean, you can put it out there. If we had another pile of restaurants waiting in the wings, which we don't, you know, so I don't know. I think $50,000 to fix a kitchen as a safeguard to make sure if they walk, we still have a building we can use is worth every penny.
Yeah. And
That's just my
And
opinion.
it's good faith too. It's good faith on our part.
I mean, we gotta do it one way or the other.
Well, isn't it important to have the C of O ready for the people that are leasing? I mean, why would somebody want to lease it and then have to go through the process of getting a C of O?
well, if they do, then that's going to be reflected in the rent. It just would be. I mean, if my building, you know, that I ran for 19 years, it's all reflected in the rent. If someone come in and took the room the way it was, well, their rent's different than somebody, we want to come in. You remember the people that wanted a sound studio and all that, you know, they took care of all that, but the building was occupied. I mean, anyway.
But a restaurant, or people that want to lease and make a restaurant, do they want to deal with a building that doesn't even have a C of O?
I guess that realtor will figure that out. It's not mine to figure out, guys. I mean, I know how I feel, I know how I would, but there's a 7-member board, and I respect every member.
How does the parking lot and the driveway figure into this?
It's again, there's $120,000 budgeted for street construction and repair. So I don't know what that budget came from.
But I mean, is that on the radar to get that fixed? Because if they come in here, I would think they'd want that parking lot resurfaced, or at least the driveway. Because it's pretty bad.
I agree.
I mean, if you start business, you want to start business, you need people to be able to come in and not be fixing the road.
I guess that's first things first, Mark. I mean, that's the most important thing, to get the building occupiable, and then once we get that, then we can start making money, and then we're not spending money down here, we're actually bringing money in here, and it's money above and beyond our assessments, so.
Rick, what can we do? What can this little group do to start out with? What's the best thing to do to help you?
I guess have patience, that's kind of what I've done. I'm being patient, I'm trying to be as transparent and truthful with you guys as I know how to be. I mean, I'm not holding back anything, but I don't want to take too much, because again, I've told y'all that in the past, it's negotiations. I don't want to tell you where we're at, because I don't want to get back to the people she's negotiating with.
So it's helpful to you though, just moving forward, to know that you've got a group of a large.
I appreciate that, too,
Percentage
yeah.
that are in
Mhm.
agreement with that.
And anything I'm doing wrong, please tell me.
Oh, not at all. But I guess moving, if there's anything we can do, he'll kind of help us at this.
Well, I want it to be an open board. I want transparency from me to y'all and from y'all to me. So if anybody has anything they want to bring up, here's the time. Nobody will hold it against you. I respect your thoughts and opinions.
Rick,
Yeah,
Will the HOA this weekend, or do you think they will talk about Christie's? Will that be brought up? Is that gonna
I hope so. You talking about the board meeting on Saturday? Yeah, I would think they, I don't know how they could, they can't avoid that. Maybe we can't avoid, I should say we can't avoid that because I'm one. Do you see them avoiding that,
In
Julie?
the open forum.
In the open forum,
In
yeah.
the open forum.
Yeah,
We're
well,
allowed to ask questions.
yeah. Well, we could also put it on the agenda too.
That was
so.
my question. Are you putting it on the agenda? Are you putting it on the agenda to vote? Is there a-
Yeah.
Can you put it on the agenda? to
The
vote?
agenda for a vote? Yeah, sure we can.
When is the
Okay.
meeting, where people can go to it?
This Saturday.
This Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday. It's the monthly meeting.
Yeah,
The
10
third
o'clock.
Saturday of every
10
month.
o'clock.
Who's gonna be here?
Rick, if you're in the middle of negotiations, what's the vote?
Do what now?
If you're in the middle of negotiations, what's the vote?
Well, hopefully, we've got a few days before Saturday, and we're waiting on information to get back to us from the realtor,
From Falcon Group?
Falcon,
Falcon.
who's dealing with the other client, or the only client over there.
So they're representing us.
And they're representing the client too, so. They're trying to, yes, they're representing us, but Christie's is representing themselves through her.
What's the objection of the other three board members?
Two. Oh, three. Three? Yeah, what's the?
Well, they just want to make sure they've got all their necessary information. You call it due diligence and they call it fiduciary. So they want to make sure they've covered all the bases. That's what I understand, right, Julie?
So providing negotiations come to a successful fruition between the city, the Falcon Group, and the Christie Group, and the HOA.
They've been asking for the financial information. That's one of the pieces, the financial information they had, they didn't feel like it was enough, so.
I'm trying to figure out where we really are.
Me too.
So, Rick, what happened to the company the one that's putting your LOI together? They said it'd take a few weeks to get it together, but they are working on.
She told us today that it's still weeks away and that they're not really moving very fast. So she feels like it would be better to move forward with the one we have.
Oh, I'm glad at least she's doing that. At least
She's
she's
saying that.
At
And
least
that's what I heard.
And that makes me feel better that she's at least trying to work for us,
So what's she saying?
trying to work for us and the client too. And that does, I was very concerned about signing the Falcon. Me too. As a realtor,
Yeah.
I want to go with commission, I'm sorry, but that's what I was concerned about.
Self-interest.
So there's a possibility Saturday at the board meeting, there may be an item on the agenda that can be voted on.
I'm hoping so.
But right now, we don't have that.
We don't have an LOI that's, it is ready to be. We go back to, 4 of us feel like we can execute that LOI we have. But in fairness to the other 3, we would like for them to also agree to that. Instead of having a split board to go into all these other negotiations on the contract deal points.
But you have the majority of the votes, why don't you just go ahead and dot the board?
Because the same details that are holding us back now are going to hold us back on the contract.
Huh?
The same details, most of the big details that hold us back now are going to hold us back on the contract. So if we do it now, we do it together, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We just got to get it done.
We'll just drag the whole contract out for, the LOI is simple because it's non-binding. It's a non-binding agreement that comes up with the major deal points. Once we get the major deal points, we'll start dealing with the minor deal
Well, if
points.
the LOI is done and everything's agreed upon with all 7 board members, would that be assured when the contract comes in, that they all will be?
No.
No, not at all.
So why can y'all not put that in the vote, that if we do it this way, we all have to agree that we're gonna agree on the contract? Can you put that in the vote?
We've got 2 pages of deal points that each board member has put together what they want to see. Like, somebody might want to use, we might want to reserve that room in there for our Saturday morning, once a month meeting.
That doesn't even matter.
Well, you got board members thinking that they need that as part of the agreement we signed with them.
Not necessarily that room, he's just making.
I'm just,
he's
it's
making
an example.
Example, yeah.
And that's what I've told everyone.
If you don't protect residents' rights to keep doing things like we want to have Christmas parties, we want to have Halloween, we want to have Easter, we want to have Mother's Day, we want to have all that, then they can go, oh, we don't really want to do any of this.
So what we have,
So now we don't get to use our building again. So
So-
there are certain points that are fine line points that we really need to push forward with.
what we have to have is, we're going to have all these points so we can deal with them, and you get 4 votes for each item. 4 affirmative or not, either yay or nay for them, and you go through it and you slap this thing, put it together and have an executable contract ready to go. Because we have to speak as one voice. That's the best way to see it. 7 people have to speak as one voice. So we're really learning how to do that on this LOI. Think about that one. I mean, we're having to get this LOI so we can start going into the detail and nitty gritty of the contract issues, the general requirements of the contract. So,
Are they wanting to do any events? Is it just restaurant?
Oh, that's great.
Is it, are they talking?
It's an event center, yes.
They're gonna do
Awesome.
yeah. They've even talked about,
I can't make them rent that.
she brought up the fact that they talked about putting the community together and doing a crawfish boil or something in here to help raise money to do the $50,000 bill. And helping with that, doing whatever they can do. And get the community to start working together with them so that we're working as a team.
Christie's offered to do that through the realtor. That's what he buys shoes, he makes through the realtor. They're wanting to help, just get the kitchen done.
They're looking at, and I guess that's the most enlightening thing with me about that group, is they're looking at it as a team thing. They're coming out and working with the team.
Corporate again, we're not having to deal
Right.
with corporate
That's
BS
why, that's
that
why
nobody
residents
wants.
need
Nobody
to be
wants
addressed.
that. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Somebody's gonna go home
I
and wish
just,
that.
just want to make one last comment and I'll stop. But it
Only you stay and help with chairs.
Yeah, Julie needs help, whoever can help her.
Oh, well, thanks. I think I can, I'll project. I just think makes me figure it out.
Can you hear me?
I do agree with you both that it'd be a wonderful concept to have all 7 in agreement with this. I really hope that that is possible, but I'm just wondering if they would show us the same courtesy if the tables were reversed. In other words, anything in the past that got through did not necessarily have all 7 people on board. And I just think we're being very generous with our fellow board members. The 3 that aren't in agreement yet, I don't know that they would be that generous with us.
Well, let's hope they become,
I hope
get in
so.
agreement.
I
with
just
us.
think
That's all,
it just
that's
makes me
what we
kind
have.
of, because this could be dragged out in perpetuity.
Mhm.
So,
Well, the good news is if we lose Christie's, they are going to open something else here in Rockwall, so we'll all get to go eat there.
They got 2.
Yeah,
We could go to Dudley's now. It's a great place. Yeah. Dudley's.
And
Wade's Landing.
Yeah, Wade's I really want to buy my golf cart though. Yeah.
You can see it on Facebook, you guys. They'll show you the whole.
Oh, yeah, they're going to have an event center here. It just may not be
Yes, Pat?
Okay, when we had the Christies do the presentation for us, There was 2 guys and a girl. And I talked to one of the guys because I told him, you wanna go see the kitchen? He said, don't worry, we can get it done. Then I talked to the girl and I asked her, when you lease this, can we just come to the patio here and sit here? And she says, the more people's gonna be around. She said, even if you don't order nothing, get one drink and you can sit here all day. So to me,
That'd be more fun than our own little thing, you know, that, to me, that's exactly what I was thinking too.
yeah, that's what
Exactly.
she said. She said,
Yeah.
it's always better if people are here, other people see them. So that means it's enough, always in the business.
Right.
She says, we will work with you all, and I was telling her, dude, you come here with 5 ladies once a week. And she said, come on and sit here all day if that's what you want. So I think that's a good sign.
And
that they-
what made it sound good to me is she said, this is y'all's club, we want to be a team member.
Exactly.
And that's exactly the way they feel, and that's why I was so happy with Christie's. It's
Exactly.
because they want to do what we want to do, and I really felt like, instead of us having our own, which I love what you did downstairs, and I helped, but you know what I did, and I love it. I love that, because we have a place for us. We have a place for us, and we use it, and we enjoy it so much. But when we get Christie's in here and it's fun, and they've got all the things that they're wanting to do with this, and their vision is so phenomenal.
Yes.
We don't want to sit in a little huddle down there and drink our wine and bring our own bottle. I'd rather sit here and have nothing else. That's just my opinion, you know. But I'm just happy that they're ready to take on the club as we have used it in the past and envelop what they're wanting to do with it too, to combine a wonderful presentation. And I just wish that the club, that the board could come to a decision immediately on this, because I will say, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation, and we all probably wouldn't be here if it had not have been for Camp Pearl.
We would be in this position.
Would not be in this position. And I love this neighborhood, and we've only been here 6 years. 8. Oh my God, it's been 8. We've only been here 8 years, and I love this neighborhood, but I hate that I have been involved with the conflict, and I know I have because I'm very outspoken, and you never have to guess what I'm thinking, good or bad. I mean, that is what I am. But I want us to all be one community again, and I think if we could ever get the restaurant open, I think we will be one community again without the bickering and without the finger pointing and without everybody saying, well, he did this 7 years ago, he did that 7 years ago. I have been guilty of that. But you cannot go forward without looking at the past mistakes. You cannot, especially with what's happened. You cannot. And I really feel like if we could just get past this, get the restaurant in here, I think everything would die down, and I truly believe we would be a community as one again. I do believe that.
Well, my visits I've had with those folks is, they would love us to have these roundtables and feed us and serve us drink. And
Yeah.
that's what they would like to have. I mean, they really would. So the more of these we have, the more it's going to make them a successful restaurateur.
That's exactly what that young lady said. If we don't work with the community people, we're not gonna make it. We don't have nothing. So she knows that they will work with us, whatever we need.
Well, have any of y'all ever been to Austin and seen the Oasis? Has anybody been down there?
Yes.
It went
This
wrong
is-
4 times.
What?
The Oasis went wrong 4 times.
Really? Because they told us they had fire. They had fire.
Wow.
Food was horrible, but.
Anyway, the view was great, but that is their vision. That is what they told James. They said, you know, that's kind of, and that, and then the other thing that I was thinking of is we used to go to a real fun place up in Texas. What was the name of that place? It was something, and that's their vision, is to have the boats and everybody come around, and it's not, we, and this is pretty much our board people, we can't keep something afloat here. We can't. It has to be everybody. And I will say that if you start bringing people from Dallas and from North Rockwall, this is the best view. And I do believe that they're the only one that I think, from what I've heard, that they can get it all done.
Well, we're certainly not lining up otherwise.
No, nobody's allowed to do it.
I will hand it to them. They've been 4 months too.
Yeah,
I mean, they've been going with this 4 months, and
How long can they go on?
that's a good question. I mean, they're obviously excited about it, but I hope they don't lose their excitement.
Can you make sure that you put this situation on the agenda and have some sort of vote as to whatever the next step is, are we going to take it or not? And then we want to see a show of hands if those are not in favor. We want to know who they are. Because they're going to be up for election at some point.
I will see what I can do.
Write it down, Judith.
Show of hands.
We still got daylight out there. Somebody want to sing a song?
Yeah, let's just get 10 minutes to set tables up.
No, I don't like that.
Well, yeah, I can.
No, I'm fine. I think you can hear me.
I can't hear you.
This has nothing to do with the club.
What?
But I noticed that everything we do is for the fireworks. I mean, I want to have a 50th celebration, but I thought the money that we raised at Casey's and Chandlers was for the fireworks. And I know we gave some money at the Eclipse thing. Everything is for the fireworks, or is it just
The
the?
50th celebration and the fireworks.
Okay, okay. Well, last year I heard
Somewhat.
Joe Lane said we let 1,700 cars in here, and they were super excited. But, I mean, my kids are flying down from Colorado, and I'm so excited, because they said, Mom, y'all gonna have fireworks? And I said, yes, if we can get down to them. I want our residents to be able to get down to them. Some of the older people don't own a golf cart. We're just talking about, we're just letting all of Rockwall come in. Are we competing with Harry
Oh,
Myers?
you mean with the parking?
For the fireworks.
Houses, but the parking.
Every, yeah.
What are you charging the gate?
Just saying,
Yeah, but everybody will say they're her kids coming to watch it.
really, I mean,
Thanks, you wanna make
1,700
money.
cars. This is a private community.
$5
I mean, I want our friends and family. It's just,
But that's a good.
And honestly, last year, you couldn't hardly park a golf cart down there. It was crazy.
yeah, yeah.
And,
And I'm not walking 2 miles in here.
yeah, I will say that it's been, Joe's done a good job. I will say that it's been.
Well, no, that's fine. I'm just saying, it's for us and then our friends and family. But
Especially for
we're-
raising money.
Right.
Unless it
Well, when I was there, they used to park on the bridge and watch it back in the day. They'd park on the bridge back in the day.
Right, so we could kill them.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Do we typically have extra security that day?
Yeah, we had to pay
Yes.
for that.
I think we had to pay for that, yeah. And pay for the pool too.
It seems like they bring extra security in.
Well, it would seem like the fireworks.
But we don't have to.
I mean,
It's
the
for us
fireworks
and
is
our
not-
family and friends. It's not for
I don't think it's enough to worry about with just one day of this or one day of that. It's not like we get a month of it. The night fireworks and doing the day before, how business it is.
Yes, ma'am.
You had a good idea for the fireworks, why could you block off areas that residents own?
I'm selling tickets for this right here.
So I mean, even inside, where people park the golf carts, show your car for the house. With the address.
Well, I do know that the Christie's guys have had landscapers in here that they want to put artificial turf out there on their yard. They even mentioned possibly getting some tents for us and everything out there for that weekend.
They gonna pay for all that?
Yeah, they are.
Who's that? Oh, really? See that?
Yeah, and they do it because that's going to bring business in for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we do parking for residents only in this area? I mean, just block this off, and if someone else wants to come in,
We
they
can
can
talk
park on the
about doing
street.
a valet, so
Yeah.
a valet guy, because we did
I
it
ain't
when we
talking
had
about
the governor.
that, but just to say they
We're allowed
can't
to
come
hear
down
for
their
that.
car. Then they park on the street, but And if they go, oh, well, it's too far to walk, we'll go to Harry Myers, then that'll be their fault.
Well, they're gonna walk along with Harry Myers too.
Yeah, that's what
Been there, done that.
Oh, yeah. You tried to-
It's a long.
Yeah, Jeremy. Josh Owens, he has all those big, huge dock on city and valet service.
Yeah.
He's got about 5 or 6 big old 90 passenger golf.
Josh Owen, maybe.
I do.